Hello and welcome to the Amateur Football YouTube channel. To Breeze here with you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Before we kind of go into the main video with Jose Ferreira about how to become a pro, we're going to just quickly go over yesterday's results at the Southern Vets Football League, Division 1, Division 2. So let's start with Division 1. Home win, Glebe versus Cray Wanderers in the Cup. Away win, Masters versus Kawuya in a Cup. Away win, Metrogas versus Charcoal in the Cup again. New Park 1, Santos 3. A good result for Santos. In the Cup again, Swanscombe Tigers Vets 1, Johnston and Phillips 2, and Charcoal Leone Stars home win for Charcoal. So let's go and look at the table. Independent first, Leone Stars second, Long Lane third, London South Masters fourth, Charcoal fifth, New Park sixth, Glebe seventh, Johnston and Phillips eighth, Sporting Santos 9th, and Metro Gas 10th. Fixtures for next week: Masters versus Glebe in a Cup, Independent versus Catford Wanderers in a Cup, Long Lane Vets versus London South Legends in a Cup, Seymour Villa versus Sporting Santos in a Cup, Leone Stars versus Charcoal in Division 1, and Metro Gas versus Johnston and Phillips in Division 1. Let's go down to Division 2. Again, home win, Glebe versus Cray Wanderers. Hollington 9, Parkwood Rangers 0 in a Cup. Masters Kawuya away win. In the Cup again, Legends versus Stevenage Vets 7-0. SP Athletic 1, Wallenham Vets. SP Athletic 4, Wallenham Vets 1. Seagas 1, Cudham Vets 1. Penalties won by Seagas. Home win, again home win, Charcoal versus Leone Stars. And Wallenham Vets A7, Bow Street Runners 1. And this is what the table looks like right now. Wallenham first, Seagas second, Hollington third, Catford fourth, Bow Street Runners fifth, Kawuya sixth, Parkwood Rangers 7th, London South Legends 8th, Cray 9th, and Norwood Vets 10th. And the fixtures for next week, 26th of November, Catford Vets Old Boys versus Wallenham A, Independent versus Catford Wanderers 2008, Long Lane Vets versus London South Legends, Slade Green Knights versus Seagas, Bow Street versus Kawuya, Norwood Lakers versus Cray Wanderers in the league. So is the Bow Street Runners Kawuya. That's a league game. And Parkwood Rangers versus Hollington. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please carry on watching where you guys will hear what Jose Ferreira, as a professional footballer, his little gems regarding becoming a professional footballer. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Hello and welcome to the Amateur Football YouTube channel. I have professional footballer Jose Ferreira on the show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing really good, Therese. Thank you so much for having me today. I've been really looking forward to this.
Do you want to talk briefly about your experiences?
Just very briefly, I'll cover a couple of things. So I've been playing professionally now for just a couple of years. I'm 24 now. Started my journey. Well, it goes all the way back to Portugal, and then it spreads across a couple of countries, most recently Finland, featured the UK a little bit as well. So I've been here and there a little bit, got a couple of different experiences, different views, and it's been good to build me to where I am today. And it's been, I think, the whole journey of going around everywhere has been a key part of it. So, and it's just part of the life, really. But we'll get into that, won't we?
We have five practical tips, and we're going to start with the first one. Know what you want. Jose, could you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, I could. It is, first of all, very hard to break down the whole of professional football into 5 steps because there is so much going into it. So I'll try to summarize everything as much as I can. So what I mean by know what you want is from as young as you could possibly be, you have to know that you want to be a professional footballer. And it's crazy to think, a child has to know that he wants to be a professional footballer. Obviously, everyone grows up with that dream. But you have to realize at some point, and hopefully as soon as possible, that this is what you want to do. Sorry. But what I mean about this is decide that you have to devote yourself to football. You have to live and breathe football. Everything has to be about football. You have to know the game inside out. So you start learning at a really young age as well. That's just going to give you a lot more benefits, coming through as a youth player as well. Basically, just dedicate yourself as early as you can to football. Part of my journey in football as well involved like university as well. So I had to put football alongside that, and it can be very difficult doing both at the same time. I didn't have the advantage that a lot of players get, that they grow up in an academy system where it's quite easy to balance both studying and playing at the same time. I didn't go through the American system, which also can facilitate the process. So it was very difficult for me. If you give yourself the best possible advantage by dedicating yourself as early as you can, knowing that this is what you want to do, you might be able to go into the professional game a lot sooner than I got the chance of doing. And that gives you a world of benefits. And it all comes from, dedicating yourself completely to the game as soon as you can, really.
Yeah, amazing. Let's kind of go to tip number 2. Make sacrifices.
And this is a massive one, in my opinion. It is really not easy. So just briefly covering a bit of me as well. I've been in a lot of situations where I've had to move on my own. So they all started when I moved from Portugal to England at a really young age. And that was without my parents. At the time I was on my own. And that's just part of football. And it can start even when you're a child. You might have to miss your friend's birthday party because you have to go play a game. You might miss nights out with friends because you have games in the morning or training during the weekend. Even if you're doing university and you can still get the university experience, but you have to miss out on a lot. And it can be very difficult being in that environment where you have to make these decisions. And I think the next step will also kind of be important. It'll kind of go with this as well. But it's important to know that, to understand that there's a lot of things that you will not be able to do if you want to live and breathe football, if you want this to be your life. If sacrifices are a massive part of the professional football career, really. And it's just something you have to live with, really.
So let's go to the next tip. Train.
So train. Again, this kind of goes in line with the first step, which was you have to know what you want. Training from as soon as you can gives you the advantage of being giving yourself attributes that will make you look different from anyone else. So if you start early, basically, it'll give you more chances to work on different things as well throughout your career. So when I was younger, a lot of the training I did was mainly in a team environment, and I didn't get as much opportunity because there was lack of access to pitches, lack of access to training areas. There wasn't as many chances. I tried to do what I could with the small spaces and everything that I had. So I tried to play as much football as I could outside of football as well, whether that was in my garden, which was mainly rock, so it was a bit difficult. A little story I'll share about the train, which was during the pandemic, just before when I was finishing uni, just before I went into my professional contract abroad from the UK, that is. I was training in a Pure Gym car park every day. So just going out, obviously you couldn't stay out for too long because of lockdown and everything. I was walking to a Pure Gym car park and just playing football on a car park. because I knew the gym was closed. So the car park would be available every day. It was a big space, but it was the only thing I had near my apartment. So it's all I could do. And that gave me the opportunity to work on a lot of things, especially in a difficult environment. I feel like it quite helped my touch and everything then going into football, because I was training in a just road. And I had football, some cones, and that was it, in a wall, which is a lot of the times all you need. And so summarizing, you need to be ready to give outwork everyone else. Basically, there's a lot of people, a lot of demand, and not as much supply for football positions. So you need to be ready to outwork everyone else, and that's whether it's gym work, making sure you peak strength, peak even mobility as well, making sure your body can handle it, because the demand on the physical side of things is quite a lot to prevent any injury. I've been lucky that I've only ever had one major injury, which was quite serious, but luckily it hasn't stopped me, and I've recovered from it and had one of the best seasons of my career just now. So even like your nutrition as well, I can add your nutrition here, and that's again goes back to sacrifices. You might have to sacrifice alcohol, so not drink, not smoke. Obviously, I'm not telling all players that if they need one every once in a while to relax in the off season, feel free. But obviously, it needs to be something that you're cutting out of your life, really. So nutrition again links with sacrifice, and I like to link it with the training side of it. Not having that excessive amounts of sugar, just that you can have a little bit, of course, but nothing in excess. Your body has to be peak conditions, really. It can contribute to injuries and everything as well. So something to look out for.
The next tip is your network.
Networking. I can't lie, and I don't want to obviously cut anyone's dreams here, but I feel, and the more I've gone further in football, the more I've realized if you don't know the right people, you won't get anywhere in football, even whether that is playing, whether that is coaching, whether that is scouting. Unfortunately, football nowadays is a game of who you know, like anything. It's not just football, of course. But I think that you also have to be prepared that not everyone wants to help. I've been lucky to meet you, who's been a big help for me in my career as well. A lot of people that we've worked with as well, I've got to thank. And that's been very good for me, and very good for our network of people as well that we've got involved with the show. We have a good group, fortunately, and I think that comes from me and you and everyone wanting to as well socialize and getting to know everyone. But we have to be prepared that not everyone wants to help. So you kind of also need to find what you can contribute to help people with as well. So that's a major part of it. When you try to speak to someone, try to also offer something that you think of what you can offer them as well. So, and ideally, you need to start making these connections as soon as possible. You can use resources like social media, LinkedIn, even just posting things on YouTube, TikTok. A lot of players nowadays are getting offers due to things that they're posting on TikTok, due to things that they're posting on YouTube, and just being active on these social medias, active on LinkedIn. And a lot of offers are coming through. I've seen it a lot. So ideally, if you start building those networks as soon as you can, it's going to give you more of an opportunity in the future. Also, the networking can literally be just connecting with people and talking to people. It doesn't have to be because you want something out of them, because this is something I love doing personally. I like to connect with people just to listen to their experiences. So I've linked with a lot of people over in Finland, literally just to message them and be like, so I'm in this place, I've done this, what have you done? Like, how was your experience? Because you might be in another side of the country, and their experience might be completely different to mine. And I like to hear that. I like to know of it. That's just me being curious as well. I know I'm not the only one that's out there that's like the way this, in this way. So it's also a really cool part of networking, is getting to listen to everyone else. So I definitely recommend people to starting that as soon as possible. Also, I want to build a network from another aspect, not just to help career-wise, also your network of people around you. So whether that's a friend that might encourage you to, not go on that night out because they understand, your grind, they understand that you're trying to be a footballer. So if, you might, in my case, my partner, a lot of the times, if I'm, might feel like a bit of cake or something, and she goes, no, don't do that. No. And it's perfectly fine. And it's, it's a sign that you've got a good network of people around you. And that's what I've got, fortunately, whether that's my family supporting me, her family supporting me, she's supporting me. And it's great to have that network. I've surrounded myself by really good people, fortunately, my friends as well, all very supportive, completely understand if I can't make an event because of a game, my lifestyle might be different, and they're completely fine with that. So I was fortunate enough to surround myself by the right people. If that comes from each player has to surround themselves by the right people. And that will help you going, the right way and towards professional football.
Preparing yourself mentally.
It's a good thing nowadays that it's okay for a lot more players to talk. And I think that there used to be quite a bit of stigma about footballers, but there's a lot of players now opening up, and players, they need to prepare themselves mentally because it's not easy at all. There is a lot of mental things in football, and whether that is pressure, there's a lot of difficulties. I like to say this a lot, and I'll say it again, that football has the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and you could literally bounce from each one on a weekly basis, which is crazy but amazing at the same time. Football's really cool because each week is different and you can build something new each week, and that's something that I really like about football. And you need to bounce from each one quite quickly. You might end, so I've just ended on a high. I've had an amazing season, and then off seasons hit and you're just like, you think everything's going to come pouring in, you're going to walk straight into something else, but that might not quite be the case. And it's just part of football, and you need to be ready to bounce. You need to be ready to change. There's a lot of mental difficulties to football, and that goes back again to sacrifices, being on your own. You're alone a lot of the times, and you need to be ready to deal with that. Also, you might not be alone. You might have a lot of friends that want you to come out, a lot of pressure to do different things as well. You need to be mentally strong to avoid these things. And so resilience is a really massive part of football. I think my whole career has come from a lot of resilience and a lot of not quitting. Even like starting during the pandemic was such a difficult experience. It's quite well documented. I think one of my mates was at JMU, made an article about that as well. And if you look that up, you can find that. And trying to find, basically, it was the journey of trying to find a football club during the pandemic, which had a lot of rejection. And I can't remember how many emails I sent. It was about 500 or something. A lot of rejections, a lot of people just not replying. Goes back again to the network. People might not want to help. One thing that I found is usually the highest. So people that are quite well placed in football are more open to helping and more open to networking than people that are, just not the top person in a football club. And that was something I've noticed, and it was something that I found really interesting from a psychological point of view. So maybe it's because they themselves have been through that grind and climbed the ladder themselves, so they know how difficult it can be. But I found that to happen to me quite a lot. So it's, you don't have to be scared to communicate with people as well. But obviously, that's part of networking, and preparing yourself mentally is a different story. You just have to be very resilient, very strong, and don't be afraid to talk if you have to, of course. But it's not an easy grind, and you have to be ready for the journey.
Where can people find you if they want to contact you?
People can find me on LinkedIn, on Jose Ferreira. I'm going to have to look at my Instagram username as well, actually, because I cannot remember that. I'm going to look that up. Split second. So I think it's at Jose S Ferreira 98. That's correct. That's the one. And that's also on Twitter. Honestly, just follow, drop me a message, and I'm always keen to talk to people. I'm always keen to hear about people's experience as well. So if you just want to tell me what you've done, whether it's a professional or grassroots football, I'm always keen to hear as well. So anywhere, feel free.